Morning everyone. Hope it's a little bit windy here, so I hope the sound goes okay. Hope you're well, and you know that your experience is what it is right now, which I'm confident of. Yesterday I was talking about the story self and its nature, and today I wanted to continue talking a little bit about why it does what it does and how it comes into existence a little bit. So the story self survives off attention, but only a particular type of attention. It's attention that is absorbed in its stories. So we could also call it the storyteller. It's the one inside you that's continually creating those images, words, stories to, I guess, try and make sense of your life experience, and to if you think of it from a child's perspective, from a 2-3-year-old's perspective, it's a way to make a world of instantaneous events and constant change into something that makes sense and in which I have a separate identity, which is part of our journey as humans, is to come to this view of ourselves as a separate one within the world, and that's how we see ourselves. So the story self comes into existence because we're continually told this is your name, this is who you are, and that the actions of this body are your responsibility. And I don't want to go too deep into that because it just starts to sound philosophical. But we know that this conditioning process happens as a child, and then we grow up to believe in this story self as me. And that's enough, really. So the story self survives because your attention is absorbed in its stories. So when it weaves those stories and you get lost in them, it gives energy to those stories, and the idea of the story self is strengthened because we're paying attention to that, we're getting drawn into that. And attention is energy, really. As we started to explore yesterday, the story self doesn't thrive when we look at it directly, or when we try to look at it directly, because it can't be found. So its only strength is in keeping you looking at the screen. So if we imagine it's the director, the storyteller, the author, the author's only power over you, so to speak, comes if you're looking at the page, reading the words, and absorbing the concepts or the story that they're telling. If no one reads a book that I write, then it has no power. And in the same way, if you're not paying your money and sitting in the cinema and getting lost in the stories that are on the screen, then the story self loses its power really quickly. Now, why do we want it to lose its power is a good question, because people often ask, well, some of the stories I like, some I don't like. I don't know that I want to get rid of it, I just want to be happy. Okay, so the difficulty is that happiness comes when we know who we are, we know what we are. Happiness comes from living as that and knowing that we are that. And I'm not going to explain that too much because I'm still exploring it myself, and because putting a whole lot of words on it again starts to sound philosophical. But to juxtapose it, we could just say that when we're lost in those stories, we can't find true happiness. We might find some temporary happiness, some excitement or some some other positive emotion because something in the story is going well. But we can't find the true unshakable contentment that is there when we live as this awareness, and we move into a space where story is happening around us, and we become like the cinema goer. We become like the movie watcher who enjoys the story but also knows that, or doesn't enjoy the story sometimes, and also knows that the story is not their story. We suspend our disbelief, but we still know I'm sitting in cinema watching a movie. We have some of the emotions, the ups and downs, but we don't think, oh my God, I'm gonna die, when the main character is getting attacked. So when we move into that space, we can enjoy the story of life unfolding, but we enjoy it in a far deeper way, and that contentment becomes unshakable, if that makes sense. I've talked enough, so I'm going to leave it there for today. Again, I hope this is useful, and I hope you have a lovely, lovely day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye bye.